Now that we've looked at the visual principles that govern typesetting and typographic composition, we're going to switch our attention to the conventions and rules of proper typesetting. Like the spatial and organizational principles we've looked at so far, these conventions straddle aesthetics and syntax. They're part of a form, part of a grammar, and we'll start by looking at line breaks. Ideally, each line should break in a place that doesn't interrupt its rhythm. If a word needs to be broken into a hyphen, it should be broken between the syllables and should never be broken into a chunk of smaller than 3 letters long. 1 or 2 letter words shouldn't be left hanging at the end of a line, because visually our eyes will tend to disassociate them from the rest of the text. So they should be dropped down to the next line. Similarly, words or parts of words shouldn't be left on their own at the bottom of a paragraph. You can fix this issue by playing around with line breaks in the preceding lines. Nor should a single lines of a paragraph be stranded on their own. The first line of a paragraph alone at the bottom of a page is called an orphan, and the lines of a paragraph that are alone at the top of a page are known as a widow. As you'll remember, the right uneven side blocks of left-aligned text is called rag. It's uneven by nature, but it's most pleasing visually when it's uneven in an even way, like a cone. A rag that's too even is distracting because it's almost too straight and not too quiet. And a rag that's too uneven is distracting because it makes a distinctive shape. In a design, you can try to achieve a good rag by tweaking the hyphenation settings and a line length, but usually you'll end up, as designers say, doing a rag manually by creating line breaks and doing soft returns and hyphenations. If you're setting justified text, the same rules regarding line breaks also apply. In fact, justifying text is even trickier because line breaks are in danger of creating rivers and white spaces between each of the words. Besides breaking words and creating line breaks, hyphens are often used to compound words like left wing or pre-owned. Other kinds of dashes serve other functions. M dashes are longer hyphenations. They're 1 M long, which is half an N. And they're used to signal a range, and anywhere you would use the word to. For example, July to August, or 6 to 7 feet. Dashes are longer still. These are 1 M long. These dashes are used like commas to separate phrases apart from their text. Dashes are also used to attribute a quote to a speaker. Incorrect use of dashes is one of the most common typographic errors designers love to point out. Another is the confusion between foot and inch marks with quotation marks. As you can see, they are actually quite different in their style. Foot and inch marks are wedge-shaped. Single and double quotation marks are curved, and they come in right and left pairs. In design, there are options to turn on smart quotes, which are automatically put in the correct marks and around quotations. Most contemporary text typefaces have 4 different kinds of numbers or figures. These figures are used when we see lines of figures. Like uppercase letters, lining figures start at the baseline and end at their cap height. More traditional forms of figures are old-style figures, like lowercase letters. These have figures that have ascenders and descenders. It's easy to remember when to use which kind of figures. Lining figures should be used whenever uppercase letters are used as in titles, and old-style figures should be used whenever lowercase letters are used in text. Figures often come in both proportional and tabular versions. Proportional figures are spaced like any other character, but some characters take up more space than others. By contrast, tabular figures are monospaced. This means each of their figures takes up the same horizontal space as the next. Tabular figures are useful in charts and mathematical equations where you need the figures to line up vertically. Just as figures come in a version for text, there's also versions for doing titling with capital letters. Capital letters meant for setting in text are called small caps. They have the same shape as normal capitals, but their height is closer to the X height of lowercase letters. You can use small caps anywhere all caps appears in text, such as in acronyms. The exception is people's initials, which always appear as uppercase capitals. Another set of characters designed to give text a smooth appearance are their ligatures. These are two letter forms that are linked together as one character. Most typefaces include these as basic ligatures, but some also include others. All of these conventions may seem esoteric, but when combined with special and organized principles we've discussed in the last few videos, they add a final degree of professional polish to your typography.